Joseph Kony was using child soldiers. Let me play this.
Most of Kony's fighters have been with him since childhood, since the time they were abducted from villages in northern Uganda. War is the only life they've known. Kony has been accused of kidnapping, indoctrinating and imprisoning tens of thousands of children in his army. While I was there, I didn't see any young children, but some told me they were 15.
I did not abduct anybody there.
In Africa here, even by the age of 4, you learn how to fight. This is our tradition. If you don't know, fight with sticks, with a spear, with arrows. That's the tradition. So if you are trying to think that this may disorient them psychologically and so on, that is not the case.
Now, at one time in that interview, Joseph Kony was asked, what are some of your objectives? What are your aims?
I'm still unclear exactly what are your objectives? What are your aims? What are you really fighting for?
We want the people of Uganda to be free. We want the people of Uganda, let me say it in so that we are fighting for democracy. We want people to be with total democracy.
UPM also believes that ultimately the people, the population, are the ultimate guarantors of their own freedom.
You're watching Mordecai Marissa Live Political Commentary. Please consider subscribing to help grow Uganda's Voices of Struggle ecosystem. Thank you.
I cannot appreciate you enough for using your valuable time to always go on social media, break down things for people.
And yes, indeed. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you're watching me from. Oh, hi. My name is Mordecai Marissa, and you're watching Mordecai Marissa Live. Now, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're going to try to do something we don't usually do here. You can call it a little bit of digging deeper. We're going to be having a conversation about Joseph Kony. And you all know the reasons why. Or if you do not, you might be wondering, he's been in the news at least yesterday and today. And I saw a number of jokes on social media, and I'm like, hey, why not? You might be wondering why Joseph Kony is in the news. Now, the International Criminal Court, commonly referred to as ICC, yesterday officially opened its war crimes case against fugitive Ugandan rebel leader Joseph Kony. This marked its first ever confirmation of charges hearing conducted without the accused present, the accused Joseph Kony. Now, despite of the arrest warrant issued nearly 2 decades ago, Kony, the founder and commander of the Lord's Resistance Army, LRA, has continued to evade capture. Hey, boy, you know the war. There was a time when they said Osama bin Laden was good at evading capture and hiding in open places or spaces. I think Joseph Kony was like, hey, hold my beer. Let me show you how we hide. I don't know how he's been able to evade capture, but that's what we're going to try to ask ourselves here. Now, as this legal milestone unfolded, a wave of reactions emerged across Uganda's social media. Citizens advocating for political change began posting darkly humorous and satirical content, many of which included doctored images merging the faces of Kony and the President of the Republic of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. While some posts were clearly tongue in the cheek, others expressed serious claim that Museveni himself is responsible for or complicit in the atrocities traditionally attributed to Joseph Kony. Many people actually hold that position. Let's try to explore that. Now, I'll tell you my position before we go deeper in. I'm going to do some sort of comparisons here, looking at the words of Joseph Kony and the gentleman Museveni. I want to understand why Ugandans, many of them, are so convinced that actually Museveni was behind Kony's atrocities. Now, although I do not share that view, the intensity of the comparison compelled me to explore why such sentiments resonate with so many Ugandans. And I'll show you here some of the things I did. I went and watched this conversation. a brilliant genocide, as you can say, brilliant genocide by Museveni on the northern Ugandan people. You can go on and watch it on Northern Face, I think is the YouTube channel, and then an extremely rare interview with Joseph Kony in 2006. So that's where I went, and I was like, oh my, this blew my mind, you know. And when I watched that, what I discovered was deeply unsettling. A number of striking parallels between Museveni's leadership style and the tactics historically used by Joseph Kony, from the projection, of himself as a divinely appointed liberator to his consolidation of power among loyalists and a consistent use of violent rhetoric. Museveni, I shall crush you. I am the master of violence. And his coercive control. Group ya Kyagulanyi tujja kujimarawo, that coercive rhetoric. The similarities were indeed too difficult to ignore. So I hope you're ready to enjoy my commentary here. Now, let's start with the interview of Joseph Kony. He was interviewed by, on that YouTube channel, like I told you, it's called Journeyman Pictures. Kony has this vendetta, could be vendetta or, hate against Museveni. I don't understand why he gets it, but this is when he was asked.
And there he was, the man I'd been chasing for a year, the man who's eluded the Ugandan government for 20 years. Of the handful of images of Kony, the most famous is of a man in his 20s with dreadlocks. He's now in his 40s, but his hatred of the Ugandan president, Yoweri Museveni, hasn't changed.
You have been accused of terrible crimes. People having their ears cut off, people having their lips cut out.
Yes. That one is not true. That is propaganda which Museveni made.
I've seen the photos of people with no lips.
Yes. That is propaganda which Museveni made. Let me tell you clear. That thing was happening in Uganda. Museveni went in the village and he cut the ear of the people, telling to the people that thing was done by LRA, which is not true. I cannot cut the ear of my brother. I cannot kill the eye of my brother. I cannot kill my brother. That is not true.
Now you just heard that. He says that's all. He denies and says that, that's all propaganda. All these accusations are but just propaganda from Museveni. Now, I should have told you at the beginning of the video, Kony had a mission of trying to win power so that he can help the country follow the 10 commandments of God. Museveni's fight against the regime of Obote and Tito Okello later were deeply entrenched in the 10 points program. You see, they all have the 10. And Museveni's group was National Resistance Army. And Kony's group was Lord's Resistance Army. I mean, that comparison is striking. The similarity is really striking. But he denies. No, that's Museveni's propaganda. Okay? Now, Museveni was sometime asked about the people who have ended up into extrajudicial killings, the illegal detentions and the forced disappearances that are happening as we speak right now in Uganda. This is what Museveni had to say.
President Museveni insists that there is no Ugandan that the government cannot account for, whether dead or alive. Responding to questions on forced disappearances, illegal detentions and extrajudicial killings, Museveni says he only knows of the arrests of rioters in 2020.
There were some mistakes, mishandling people when they are being arrested, but we corrected those mistakes. We showed the security forces what to do in writing. So there is nothing that can go wrong and we don't know and then we don't correct it. We are by people who are panicking, security people who are panicking, but those are all being trained and guided what to do.
Okay. Museveni says he insists that there's no person that the government cannot account for, whether dead or alive. Now, that is really denying the fact that, this is happening. Because if Museveni really denies that the abduction, the extrajudicial killings, and the forced disappearances do not happen, I'll play you a video of his own Prime Minister Nabanja talking about one of the people that was abducted, and up to now we still question where this gentleman is.
For example, if you can read, Chibarama John Bosco, abducted on 3rd of June 2019.
Now, I'll pause you right there before I play the entire video. She says, for example, if you can read, Chibarama John Bosco abducted on 3rd of June 2029. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, this is a government official, Prime Minister for that sake, using that language that a gentleman was abducted. That doesn't sound like due process to me. But she says, he was abducted. But I digress.
19. From Kanyanya, Gayaza Road. Now, how do you trace for Chibarama? But we are fortunate that Chibarama was traced. He was arrested recently in October in a place called Kakiri.
She says that Chibalama was traced. They have him. But up to now, we say, Museveni, can you avail this man, this gentleman? Show us where he is. If your Prime Minister says, hey, we've got this gentleman, then where is this person? Now, in Museveni's mind, he will continue. He will now decide to deny, this didn't happen. Okay? And when Joseph Kony denied the accusations and said, that's Museveni's propaganda, he was asked the second question.
It's not true.
Are you saying that the LRA have never been involved in any abductions, any mutilations, any rapes?
Yes.
They've never been involved?
LRA has never been involved on that one.
He gives an equivocal no. LRA is never been involved. Well, that took me to Museveni using those equivocal rhetoric. This is how tough I am, and this is it. This is Museveni was given a comment about how he cannot allow some things to happen in Uganda. Play the clip.
I will cause you a lot of problems if you are near me and you kill, mistreat, rape an African woman who is my muzukuru or food day. I cannot spare you. I will kill you.
And what does he say? It will cause you a lot of problems if you kill, mistreat. And then he goes on to say the statement 3 times. Rape. An African woman who is my muzukuru or food day. Literally meaning you're dead. I cannot spare you. He goes on to say, I will unalive you. Imagine now. I mean, president of a country saying, I'll kill you. Really? I mean, even if they said that you did it, and probably there are other people who said you did it, we are all familiar with the legal maxim. He who alleges must prove. But Museveni says, no, I won't actually care. I will just do this to you. We are all familiar with another aphorism from the legal course. You're innocent until you're proven guilty. So Museveni says, okay, if they say you did this, I can unalive you. Are you kidding me? But you can see the similarities in the rhetoric. Deny you. Because why am I playing you or giving you this example? Of recent, I had an interview where a gentleman told me what they did to him, Munyarwanda Bobby. He told me they removed his front teeth. They beat him up. They sodomized him. They did the same to his girlfriend until she started bleeding and they had to release her. Where's Museveni? Bakutwala n'omukyala oyo ne bamurapinga girlfriend wo. ne bamurepinga.
bamurepinga paka okutuuka ng'avaamu omusaayi era bwe yavaamu omusaayi mungi nnyo omukazi baawalizibwa okumuta nga tebamuguddeko musango gwonna olw'okuba yali agenda okulyanga omwaga munne nkuleeteddeyo akakyala endowooza munaye nti omukyala gwe bakutte naye nga bali mumutuugunya kumbe baali bategeeza nze okulya nga baazigyamu empale nga bamaze okunsiba abansiba nga bansibye okulya omusajja ng'alagiza okunkolesa mu kabina kange.
Marinos Alexandria was raped, infected with HIV/AIDS. She ran away from Uganda, went to Kenya. They still continue to hunt her down. Where's Museveni? Where's this toughness that he says? It is all deny, and gaslighting of people. Now, it becomes very interesting here. Joseph Kony was using child soldiers. Let me play this.
Most of Kony's fighters have been with him since childhood, since the time they were abducted from villages in northern Uganda. War is the only life they've known. Kony has been accused of kidnapping, indoctrinating and imprisoning tens of thousands of children in his army. While I was there, I didn't see any young children, but some told me they were 15.
I did not abduct anybody there. Some civilians they are volunteer themselves to come and join me so that we stay together to protect their life, to defend themselves here. Do you think that the children can afford that condition of war? They will not. You see, that is propaganda which Museveni is playing. I don't have any children here.
But that's not the line he later takes with his troops. If I were president, all children would carry a gun, he tells them.
First of all, he says that, these folks volunteered. They volunteered, the people, the adults volunteered. But he continues to deny. He says, I don't have any children here. If I were president, and then he goes on to say, having a conversation with his friends, if I were president, all children would carry a gun. Now, Kony says those words, but there's a man who lived by those words, and here's the proof.
Okay, so I brought the children you want. In Africa here, even by the age of 4, you learn how to fight. This is our tradition. If you don't know, fight with sticks, with a spear, with arrows. That's the tradition. So if you are trying to think that this may disorient them psychologically and so on, that is not the case.
Now, you gotta laugh at Museveni sometimes and just ignore him and just pray for him. I mean, listen how he twists and uses African traditions that he's pulling out of space to defend his illegal actions of using kids as child soldiers. He says, in Africa, here, even by the age of 4 years, imagine that. You learn how to fight. This is our tradition. Are you kidding me? Museveni is trying to say that, if when we are 4 years old and we're having just disagreements with our relatives or siblings, the thing we do is when we fight, actually that's the spirit that tells us that we are warriors. You must be shameless, Museveni. If you don't know fighting with sticks, with spears, with arrows, that's the tradition. So if you are trying to think that this may disorient them psychologically and so on, this is not the case. The reporter told us that, Kony disorients people, manipulates them psychologically. And Museveni is denying. He's doing the same, but denies, hey, this doesn't prepare them for war. Actually, this is a thing we do in Africa. At 4 years old, we're already fighting 4 years. This is Museveni. That was in 1985, almost at the end of the 1986 war. And says, this is what we do in Africa. This is defense for that. And he says that because he knows he was breaking the law. And one of the reasons that's why he doesn't want to leave power, it is because he knows that crimes against humanity would be open against him. What are some of these? The Rome Statute of International Criminal Court that prevents, children under the age of 15 to be conscripted or enlisted to serve in the military. Then another one is the Geneva Convention and Additional Protocols of 1977. So Museveni knew, again, this prohibits the recruitment of or use of children under the age of 15 in any armed conflict like that of Museveni. Then the customary international human law. Museveni knew he was breaking the law, but he says, okay, I'm breaking the law, but I want to tell you about African traditions. We usually fight at the age of 4. Are you kidding me? That is Museveni for you. All right. The next thing. At one time, in that interview, Joseph Kony was asked, what are some of your objectives? What are your aims?
I'm still unclear exactly what are your objectives? What are your aims? What are you really fighting for?
We want the people of Uganda to be free. We want the people of Uganda, let me say it in so that we are fighting for democracy. We want people to be with total democracy, free. We should be free to elect select our lead, to elect our leader. We want our leader to be elected leader.
He says we want the people of Uganda to be free. We're fighting for democracy. We want people to be with total democracy, free. We should be free to elect our leaders. And he goes on to say other stuff. Sounds convincing, isn't it? Sounds like a man who has got a very fundamental cause to fight. Like Museveni said, this is not a mere change of guards. It is a fundamental change. Now, in 1980, Museveni belonged to UPM, Uganda Patriotic Movement. They usually have that national or patriotic something, patriot, or he's a nationalist or he's a patriot. So he belonged to Uganda Patriotic Movement, and he was a candidate in the election of 1980. Some of the lies he told.
I have justice for forming a new party is that we want to solve the missing link. Where is the missing link? What's wrong with Uganda? There's that question. What's wrong with you Ugandans? You're always in crisis. You're always in trouble. What's wrong with you? So we want to answer that question. UPM also believes that ultimately the people, the population, are the ultimate guarantors of their own freedom.
Era UPM ekkiriza nti abantu aba bulijjo bo bennyini be balina obuvunaanyizibwa ku butebenkevu bw'eggwanga lyabwe.
He was questioning. He wanted to solve the missing link. What's wrong with Ugandans? Museveni asks. UPM also believes that ultimately the people, the population, are the ultimate guarantors of their own freedoms. He's fighting for freedom, for democracy, just like Joseph Kony. So now you understand why people make these comparisons. They all seem like the war, but Museveni won the war, but he never manifested these things that he was fighting for. We still have the abduction, the forced disappearances, the abductions, the extrajudicial killings, the torturing of people, the murdering. I mean, you cannot make these things up. But he claimed to have an ultimate cause. And then at one time, Joseph Kony was accused of controlling his forces with a mixture of, I'm quoting verbatim, distorted Christianity and brutality. Make it make sense. Listen to this.
Kony is accused of controlling his forces with a mixture of distorted Christianity and brutality. Their ideology, they say, comes from the Bible.
How many spirits speak to you?
Very many. I don't know the number. But they speak to me. They talk to me.
A mixture of distorted Christianity and brutality. Now, welcome to Museveni's Uganda 2025. At the helm of the office of the president is Museveni, who has a daughter who is a pastor, and Janet Kataha is a Christian lady. Christian lady. At one time, Janet told us, you know, I don't know whether you, I think I played you, yeah. It said that, you know, that gentleman said that, you know, spirits talk too. they talk to that gentleman, a Kony. At one time, Janet Kataha Museveni told us that, you know, Museveni is in power because of God.
Now, First Lady and Minister for Education Janet Museveni says Museveni has been in office because God chose him.
Ntire nangwani ngambira abantu ba Uganda nguna President Museveni na movement government okumara emyaka egi yona neyebembera Uganda imwe mutagira ngu nakaruru.
The First Lady added that as long as God still needs Museveni in power, no one can go against his will.
Ranga kwa kubateri no mwebembezi nakaruru tukakuzayo.
That is Janet Kataha Museveni telling you that, you know, he's doing it because God wants him to do this. Okay. Now, some people actually do believe that. There are some Ugandans, some elements within the body politic and the entire country who believe that he's there because God wants him to be president of Uganda for 45 years now. We're headed for 45 years if he wins the election. Is that something like winning if he steals the election? Now, when we go to Kony.
And all in the name of their messianic leader, Joseph Kony.
Is Joseph Kony a god? Is he a god?
Not God, but he has a spirit.
How many spirits does he have?
3.
3 spirits?
Yes.
He's like a prophet. He can see it. He can see things before they happen.
Yes.
And are you suggesting that the spirit enters inside him and gives him knowledge?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
He cannot be killed?
Yes. I'm sure can be killed.
It's impossible to kill Joseph Kony?
Yeah.
Even if I shot him here, right in the chest, would he die?
No.
Okay. Their messianic leader, Joseph Kony. That gentleman says that, you know, he's not God, but he has spirits or a spirit. Now, you can compare that gentleman to Nabanja. Nabanja believes that in the ranking of the divine authority, Museveni comes next. You can look at that young man who was serving Joseph Kony and please compare them to Nabanja. They're almost the same. It's a coin, different sides. This gentleman believes that Kony has special divine authority and, you know, divine spirits that, you know, guide him. Nabanja believes that Museveni is next to God. Don't take my word for it.
Mukama wange President Ngira, apart from God, you are next to God.
All right, you might be like, hey, Mordecai, again, of all people, why are you choosing Nabanja? I'll tell you another man who believes that, you know, Museveni is equivalent to God.
Okulaba mwami Museveni onwe, oberanga alaba Katonda. Okulaba mwami Museveni, waje Uganda, ne Uganda wetu sekati. Obanga alaba Katonda wa Uganda. Tuina Katonda w'ensi atwala ne Museveni mwali.
Okay.
Yesu ne Katonda ne God. Naye okulaba ono omwami gwe bayita mwami Museveni, oberanga alabye Katonda. Ate ne Katonda yazaala omwana we gwe bayita Jesus. Yesu. Kati gobanga okuba akabonero gamba mu linnya lya Patiri n'omwana n'omwoyo omutukuvu gwe wabitandikawo Nakati linnya lya party limu ayi Museveni n'omwana General Muhoozi.
He believes that the Holy Trinity is Museveni the Father and Muhoozi the Son, and probably the Holy Spirit is Janet Kataha Museveni. It is unbelievable. These are things that are said by folks within the Museveni regime who aid and abet his regime. Like the Speaker of Parliament, she believes the same. She said Museveni is God the Father, Muhoozi is the Son, and Janet is the Holy Spirit. It doesn't really make sense. But these folks within the Museveni regime who wield a lot of power, a lot of authority, like the Speaker of Parliament, the Prime Minister Nabanja, and the Minister Banambal Gahara. So that is Joseph Kony. But I'll really do you some sort of disservice if I finish this video without telling you probably why this gentleman is actually fighting. Many people do not understand. Why is Joseph Kony actually fighting? Now, many of you, more especially students of history, know that Uganda's post-independence politics were heavily influenced by ethnic divisions. The Acholi and other northern groups dominated the military and the political leadership under presidents like Milton Obote and Idi Amin Dada. So when Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, a man from my tribe, I'm yet to confirm, a man from my tribe, a southerner from Ankole ethnic group, came to power in 1986. After that huge guerrilla war, he overthrew northern-dominated, regime and its loyalists, and some of them didn't want to leave power. As a result of that, there were long-standing distrust and resentment between Museveni's government and the northern communities, particularly the Acholi sub-region. Now, as you all know, Museveni wants to keep his base and he wants to surround himself with folks he trusts. The people of Acholi were seen as politically hostile to Museveni's rule, and they were pretty much associated with the old regime. Some of them continued fighting, the likes of Moses Ali and a few others, the Ali Slakwe, not to mention but a few. And as a result of that, some of them, like Kony is an Acholi man. He decided to form the Lord's Resistance Army to make sure that he fights the Museveni regime. He came up with so many reasons, these are all reasons as to why we are fighting. And to understand really how Joseph Kony was handled by the Museveni regime really broke my heart. I landed on that very, very good video that I recommend you to go and watch. A brilliant genocide. And you have different people telling you things you won't actually believe. I'll give you an example of Pecos Kutesa, Major General then in the Uganda People's Defense Force, admitting, that the mistakes that were, and understand this, if a military man admits mistakes, then you have to really double, triple, quadruple, whatever number he tells you.
I was the first commander there from 86 to 90. Just a few years, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90. Some groups who didn't have the discipline we had, now under our command, committed some atrocities.
What does he say? Some groups who didn't have the discipline we had, now under our command, committed some atrocities. Museveni looked at people of Acholi as opposed to his regime, and they started committing crimes you cannot believe. I think we need a separate video if I want to break down that brilliant genocide video.
For Mr. Museveni, everything is about power. His power, his hold on power. That's all he's interested in. Anyone who challenges his hold on power is an enemy.
Actually, in that video is a betrayer, Norbert Mao. This is what he had to say.
When Museveni came, he pledged not to be corrupt. He said the army should be for the people. He mastered the language of the World Bank and the IMF. Museveni managed to impress the Western world. They didn't know that he was actually a wolf in a sheep's skin. Ironically, in spite of the violence he has meted out against the people, he believes he's a crusader for the community. That's how he sees himself. He shares the view by the Acholi people that Museveni is out to destroy them. It's a shame, and we have got to tell the decision makers in America, in Britain, France, and Germany that they betrayed the people of Uganda by not looking at the whole of Uganda.
I don't even know how to react on this. When Mao says the West has become complicit, and their complicity is basically their silence as Ugandans bled to death, they continued singing praises to Museveni. This is Norbert Mao, who serves in the Museveni government. Now, I have a question, my dear. Did Norbert Mao become blind? Did he forgive Museveni? Did he decide to betray his people? What does he say? I wish some media houses can interview him. Play him these clips and say, hey, you blame this regime of having committed atrocities in northern Uganda, but you're serving the same regime and you're not doing anything. You know, now he talks about reconciliation and stuff like that. But what happened to this Norbert Mao? He continued. This is Norbert Mao saying, hey, you're putting a lot of blame on Joseph Kony. How about you look at this issue in a broader perspective? Can Mao walk the same talk? He betrayed his own people. So that's what gave birth to the comparisons. And you had other speakers who spoke, you know, in that brilliant video, brilliant genocide video you want to watch. The likes of Oraro Tunu, David Sejusa, Dr. Chiza Besigye, and others, raising their voices. Dr. Ali Mahdi, all of them. So go on and watch that conversation on YouTube. It's called A Brilliant Genocide. And make sure that you do watch that conversation of Kony. It's called An Extremely Rare Interview with Joseph Kony. That's it for now. I mean, when I was watching all these, I'm like, are you kidding me? Yep, it's happening. It happened in Uganda. So that's what gave birth to the comparison. So what do you think? Did Joseph Kony really, does he really exist? Is this a human being? Or was it an invisible hand behind? Make your argument down, you know. Make your argument. Say, hey, Mordecai, this is what I think. And I would really, really, really appreciate. There's a lot of things to go through when Museveni finally leaves power and we start the rebuilding our country. This man is going to leave a damage to our beautiful country, Uganda. He doesn't really care. Just like in that video, I think Sejusa says Museveni is a megalomaniac. Thinks about himself. He's a manipulator. These are people who worked with him. These are his friends, people who know him. Saying all these words, I'm not saying them out of hate. I don't have hate for any person. That's it for now. My name is Mordecai Modisa. Until we catch up again, see ya. Let me know what you think.
To less than human beings. Hate must only go so far. Even if you take that northern people, there are things you don't do. There are things you don't do. If you hate people, you do not have to dehumanize them for 27 years. You do not have to perpetuate a war for 27 years because you hate people.
I call what happened in Acholi a brilliant genocide, a perfect crime. Because unlike what we saw in Rwanda during the massacres, where people actually saw the visuals, the images of people being chopped by machetes, you could see the blood flowing. In Acholi, it was quite different. You could not see the blood flowing. So even though it was committed in broad daylight, you really couldn't see it. People died in a different way. They died through planned neglect, no food, no hydration, no medical health care, lack of sanitation, sexual violence from the soldiers who were meant to protect them. That's why this was a brilliant genocide, a silent genocide, perfect crime.
Did you enjoy what you just watched?
I'm sure they did.
I'm going to guess that you did. How about you consider subscribing to Mordecai Marissa Live YouTube channel? Thank you.